Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavato Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Urave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahite Ratam Vedabja Bhaskaram Vande Shamadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasranetrananapadhabaho Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradishantyai. Namaste once again to all of you. So in the last class, we started seeing the meanings of the 1,000 names of Mahavishnu, of Parameshwara, and Adi Shankara starts with the name Vishwam. What does Vishwam mean? And it's a very profound commentary he has written to explain this word Vishwam. In summary, what he says is that Brahman, who is the Jagat Karana, the cause of this entire cosmos universe, is called Vishwam because the world is called Vishwam. So as a Karanam, Brahman is called Vishwam. And as a Karyam, as the effect, as a product of that creation, this world is called Vishwam. And he makes one more profound statement, which we will see in some detail. The word Om also denotes this Vishwa. So these are the three main points that he makes why Ishvara or Brahman or Paramatma or Parameshwara, whatever name you call, is called Vishwam. So he said, Jagatah Karanatvenahi Vishwam Ityuchyate Brahma. That's what he said. Okay. So as the Karana or cause of this Vishwa, Brahman is called Vishwa. That's what he said. And then we were discussing, when we say cause, what should we understand? Because there are different kinds of causes one can think of, isn't it? What type of a cause we are talking about? One thing is, a cause could be a material cause or an efficient cause. It could be a cause which undergoes a change to become the effect. It could be a cause which does not undergo any change to become the effect. Normally, in our experience, any cause will undergo a change in its shape and name to become the effect, isn't it? I think I gave you the example of gold. We have a gold bar. It has a certain shape and a certain name, we call it a gold bar. Now that gold, we go and convert it into some ornaments as a necklace. When that gold bar is converted into a necklace, first of all, the shape undergoes a change. Then the name also undergoes a change. From the gold bar, it becomes golden necklace. From a sort of a square or whatever shape you can call it, like a brick, it becomes a necklace with lot of works and all that. So any change involves a change in the cost also. Normally we have seen. Some of these changes are reversible changes, some of the changes are irreversible also. That is another type of change. So when we talk of change, when we talk of a cause, we can talk of many types of causes, whether it is a changing cause, unchanging cause, whether reversible, the effect can be reversed into the cause or not reversed into the cause. All those issues are there. So when we say Brahman is the Karanam of this world, and we have also seen that Brahman is unchangeable, does not have any guna, gunatitaha, kalatitaha, all these descriptions are there for this Brahman, pure consciousness. Then we have to understand what type of a cause is this Brahman for this entire world. And then the question also is that from what material did Brahman produce this world? And I gave you an example of carpenter and wood also. The carpenter can be the efficient cause, and wood is the material cause in making any furniture. There also, it is a irreversible. Once you take a wood and make it into a block of wood and make it into a furniture, you cannot turn the furniture back into the block of wood. So that is an example of which cannot be reversed, right? So the efficient cause in the language of Vedanta terminology is called Nimitta Karanam. And the material cause is called Upadana Karanam. These are the two terminologies useful to remember, Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam. And as I told you, Upadana Karanam, the material cause can be two types. Changing Upadana Karanam, unchanging Upadana Karanam. I have not given you an example of unchanging Upadana Karanam till now. I will come to that. So, the changing Upadana Karanam is called Parinami Upadana Karanam. And the unchanging Upadana Karanam is called Vivarta Upadana Karanam. So we have got few terminologies now, and we have to understand what they are. Nimitta Karanam, Brahma. Upadana Karanam. Under Upadana Karanam, we have got Vivarta Upadana Karanam and Parinami Upadana Karanam. Changeless material cause and changing material cause. The material cause which has changed itself. The classic example I already gave you wood. Another classic example of this changing Upadana Karanam is the milk turning into curd. When the milk turns into curd, the milk has changed its character. Milk is the cause for curd, that we cannot dispute. But in becoming curd, the milk has actually lost its character, its nature, and become curd. You cannot put the curd back into milk. It is a permanent change which has happened. This is the example of the Parinami Upadana Karanam. So even though the curd possesses certain qualities of the milk, but it does not possess all the qualities of the milk. You cannot make a coffee with curd. Maybe sometimes somebody will come up with a curd coffee. You can only add milk to coffee or tea, not a curd. So some aspects are retained. Like for example, there is a butter, or what we call the fat content in the milk, which gets converted into fat content in the curd. So you can get butter from both the sources. So those things are retained. Certain things are retained, certain things are changed. In Vivarta Upadana Karanam, what happens is the effect has got all the properties of the cause. And the classic example is clay and pot. When a lump of clay is turned into a pot, even though the name and form changes, all the properties of the clay are there in the pot. The coolness which is there in the clay is transferred as coolness in the pot. That's why we put water, for cooling in a pot. So if you just look at all the properties of the clay, in fact, the weight of the clay is the same as the weight of the pot, which is not the case in the case of a milk and a curd rather. There the weight also changes. Whereas in clay and the pot, everything, all the properties remain the same. And a pot can be put back into the clay form also. So here in the Vivarta Upadana Karanam, even though apparently there is a change, but there is no change in the properties of between the cause and the effect. All the properties of the pot are the properties of the clay only. So this is called a Vivarta Upadana Karanam. These are all definitions we just need to understand and keep it in our mind to understand what type of Karanam is Brahman for this entire world, for this Vishwa. So when we are referring to Brahman as the Karanam, what type of a Karanam we are referring to? Nimitta Karanam or Upadana Karanam or both? If it is Nimitta Karanam, if it is a Upadana Karanam, then what type of Upadana Karanam are we referring to? Parinami Upadana Karanam or Vivarta Upadana Karanam? So all these questions we need to analyze and understand. So when we attribute Jagat Karanatvam to Brahman and call it Vishwam, we have to understand what we are referring to. Now, according to Advaita Vedanta, Brahman is both Nimitta Karanam and also Upadana Karanam. And when we say that, we just have to understand that we never ever see Brahman as an independent cause. Brahman is always a cause combining with Maya. Brahman alone, pure Brahman as we call it, without Maya cannot do anything. Brahman requires the power of Maya to create. Maya without Brahman also cannot create because it doesn't have the sentiency to do any creation. It cannot do anything on its own. It requires the consciousness, blessing of consciousness of Brahman to do the creation. So whenever we talk of creation, we have to understand that we talk about creation in the sense of Brahman plus Maya. So when we take them as a single entity, Brahman plus Maya Sahita Brahman, it is also Upadana Karanam. So Brahman is both Nimitta Karanam as well as Upadana Karanam. Nimitta Karanam we can easily understand, because if there is a creation, there has got to be a creator. If I see a table in my front, I must obviously assume that there was a carpenter who made this table, or a carpenter like machine. These days everything is mechanized, so even a machine can become a carpenter, not necessarily a human being. But that is the Nimitta Karana. That is the efficient cause for any creation. That we can easily understand. And also, we have to accept it because the scriptures also say that Brahman is a Nimitta Karana. But how to accept Brahman as the Vivarta Upadana Karanam, unchanging Upadana Karanam, unchanging material cause of the universe? How we can accept Brahman as that? For that, what the Shastras say is that Brahman was the first to appear in this entire universe. Before the creation happened, there was only one entity, which was Brahman. Pure consciousness. Whenever I say Brahman, you must understand it as pure consciousness. It was there before the creation itself, and only Brahman was there. In fact, Chandogya Upanishad says, Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asid Ekameva Advitiyam. Sat Eva. Sat means existence principles, which is equivalent to consciousness principle. That alone, Sat Eva Idamagre Asid, before creation, Agre first was there. Ekameva Advitiyam. That was the only one, there was no second. This is Chandogya Upanishad says. Aitreya Upanishad says, Atma va idameka evagra asid anya kinchana mishat. So Atma or Brahman, they are all synonyms. That was only there before the creation. There was nothing else. Anyat kinchana. What? Nothing else. Mishat was not there. So these are all the pramanams we get from the Shruti, from the Upanishads, to know that before the creation, there was only Brahman or Atma, whatever name we want to give, we can give, was in existence. And there was nothing else. There was no other material for this entire creation to be created. Now, there is an efficient cause, Brahman. Then along with Maya, they are there. Where Brahman and Maya are inseparable. Both are anadi. We don't know from when they have been existing. Because for us, creation again is not a linear principle. Creation is a circular principle for our scriptures. So you cannot find out in a circle which is the starting point. Unlike the Western philosophy, we don't believe in linear model of creation. And which we are experiencing this entire universe. Everything is circular rather. It goes, comes around, goes, comes around, goes, comes around. Everything is revolving. The seasons also revolve. Day and night, the earth revolves around the sun. The whole universe is revolving. This whole Milky Way is revolving. Again, some center. So, revolution is the model of our concept of this entire universe. So, from that point of view, the question arises, from what did Brahman plus Maya create this world? There can be only one logical answer. They created this world from their own entity. from their own, what we can call, in fact, we can put it this way. It is Brahman plus Maya who transformed into this world. Because there is nothing else. If you want to split it, you can say Maya is the Upadana Karanam, Brahman is the Nimitta Karanam, but Shastras don't see in that way. They don't separate Maya and Brahman at all. So, both Brahman and Maya together transformed into this world. And being the Vivarta Upadana Karanam, being Upadana Karanam, all the properties of Brahman plus Maya has gone into this world. For Brahman, we know the main properties are what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Or we can say Sat, Chit, Anantam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. That is the three aspects of Brahman. The three principles of Brahman. Pure existence, pure consciousness, and limitlessness. Maya, what we can say? Trigunatmika Maya. The three gunas. The three gunas are the one which is completely pervading this entire world. Everything in this world belongs to one guna or the other of the three gunas. Trigunatmika Maya. So when we look at this world, all the properties of Maya, all the properties of Brahman have got transformed into this entire Vishwam. This is how we have to understand. And this is again very poetically said in Taittiriya Upanishad. It says, So kamayata bahusyam prajaye yeti satapo tapyata satapas tattva idam sarvam asrijata. Asrijata means created. How that creation happened? It says this Brahman and this Maya, they took a sankalpa. We are alone, let us become many. We are one, let us become many. Bahusyam prajayeti. Then with this sankalpa, Brahman created everything. Of course, Brahman with Maya, power of Maya, created everything. So, Brahman plus Maya become both Nimitta Karanam and also the Upadana Karanam. Material cause. But what type of material cause? They have not undergone any change. Brahman still exists as Brahman even after the creation of this world. If Brahman changes, then there won't be any Brahman. The consciousness will not be there. The whole world will finish. Brahman has to exist as pure consciousness, because even in Pralaya, when everything becomes unmanifest from a manifest condition, for the next creation to come about, the Brahman is required, the pure consciousness is required to start the creation process. So Brahman cannot change. That's why we say Brahman is changeless. Brahman is not like a curd or anything, changing into curd. Brahman remains Brahman, but he has created this world. He has transformed itself. Brahman it's a neutral gender. Brahman and Maya have transformed themselves into this entire universe. Okay. And they have not undergone any change. So that is why they are called Vivarta Upadana Karana. In other texts, Adi Shankara gives a very beautiful example for this change, which is unchanging cause, which appears as a changed cause. And that example is a very beautiful example and often quoted in Advaita Vedanta. Is called, what is it called? A Rajju Sarpa example. And that example is also used how to explain how this entire world, prapancha, is an illusion. Actually, if you inquire into this world, it doesn't exist. It appears to exist, it appears to be real, but the more we start inquiring into the reality of this world, we will come to the conclusion that this world doesn't exist. Just like a dream. When we are in a dream, the dream is real for us. A dream is real for a dreamer when he is in the dream. But when we wake up and then inquire into the reality of the dream, we will find that the dream was fictional. It was not actual at all. It had its validity only in the dream situation, in Swapna Avastha only. For example, if we suppose dream that we have actually won a lottery ticket, lottery for some 5 crores or some big amount, large amount. And before we could go and collect that lottery ticket, we were searching for that lottery ticket in the dream. Something happened and we woke up. After waking up, if we have taken the dream to be real, what we will be doing? We will be searching for the lottery ticket, isn't it? Oh, I have won big lottery. Let me search for the lottery ticket. If we do that, we will be called insane. Isn't it? Because when we wake up in the waking state, we know that what we saw was a dream which was not real. And all this lottery ticket business and all actually did not exist at all. Similarly, when we are in this waking state and experiencing so many things, when we actually get the knowledge of the self, Atma Jnanam, and raise ourselves to the super waker stage, a Brahma Jnani stage, at that time we will find that this entire experience we had in this waking world was also not real. This was also just like a dream, and this Mandukya Upanishad actually analyzes this threadbare. So the example which the Shastra gives, Rajju Sarpa example, is very beautiful, because what the Shastra says is you are taking this entire world to be real because of your Ajnanam, because of the lack of knowledge, lack of your knowledge of the reality of this world. Avidya. But when you know the reality, when you get the Jnanam, you will know this world to be false or does not have an independent existence. And the Rajju Sarpa example is, there is let us say, a place where the light is very, very dim. You can't see it very clearly, and a rope is lying there. And the rope, curved rope is lying there. A person comes and sees that rope, and immediately he assumes that it is a snake. Because the rope exactly looks like a snake lying there, and he becomes, scared. My God, such a big snake, 6-foot snake is there in my backyard. And it is just lying there, not moving. He doesn't know what to do. If he goes near the snake, it may bite him. So he is totally scared about this snake. And he goes and tells everybody, don't go to the backyard, there's a big snake there. When this is happening, a guru comes. He's a jnani, he knows. He comes and says, what is wrong with you? Why you are so sweating and perspiring and you are so nervous? He says, no, there is a big 6-foot snake in the backyard. It's very poisonous snake. If I go near it, it may bite me. So what should I do? The Guru goes and sees. He says, no, Baba, this is not a snake. This is just a rope. You are unnecessarily seeing a snake on the rope. He says, no, Guruji, you don't know anything. No, this area, back area is all forest. It is a snake and it has come from that forest. The Guru says, no. Believe me. Then Guru takes out a torch. Because the light is very dim, he takes out a torch and then shines the torch on that rope stroke snake. And then this fellow sees that it was not a snake, it was a rope. Sees the reality of the snake as a rope only. This is the example for Vivarta Upadana Karanam. The rope has not changed. It is remaining as rope only. But for a person who is seeing that rope in the dim light of ignorance, it appears to be a snake. There was never ever a snake, in fact. There was only a rope, and it required a guru to shine the torch of the Upanishads on the rope to make this person understand that it is a rope and not a snake. So this example is given for both angles in the Shastra as a Vivarta Upadana Karanam, unchanging cause. The rope which has not changed at all but appears to be a snake. For a person who does not know the reality of the rope. Similarly, this entire, if the example is given to know, understand that this entire prapancha, this cosmos that we are experiencing, is also a mithya. Appears to be real, but actually it is not real. It appears to be real because of our ignorance of the reality, absolute reality of this world. So this example is given. This is the different types of karanam, which is explained in the Shastras. Okay. So Brahman, as I told you, does not undergo any change. Another way to understand this is Brahman is Satswarupa. We saw Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasi. Satswarupa means what? Pure existence. The easeness in every object in this world is Brahman only. Whenever we say a book is, a paper is, that easeness is Brahman, Sat aspect of Brahman. So the easeness is there, whether it is conscious being or non-conscious, whether it is a sentient matter or insentient matter, easeness does not go away at all. Even when the form changes of an object, the easeness doesn't go away. When there is a wooden piece, we say wooden piece is. Then we burn the wooden piece. It converts into ash. We will say ash is. We will take that ash and mix it in water. We will say mixture is. So the easeness is common to all changes of forms and names. And what is the easeness? Sat. Satyam. Brahman's one aspect is ease. The Sat aspect, pure existence. That's how we have to understand Brahman. And that easeness pervades everything. In every object we say is. So Brahman's pure existence pervades everything in this world. The sun is, the moon is, the planet is, table is, pen is. Whenever we say is, asti, that is the Sat aspect of Brahman. So Brahman cannot change at all because easeness doesn't change, even though the forms keep on changing. Okay. So when we say the Lord is Vishwa, what means? That it means that all these 1,000 names and many more rather are all names of that Lord, that Brahman only. Because that Brahman has converted itself into all these forms. After all, whenever we say Ishvara, what are we saying? It is a form and a name. Vishnu, Shiva, all these are all forms and names. What are the forms and names? The conversion of Brahman and Maya into all these forms and names. So there could be 1,000 names we are seeing here. There could be 10,000 names or millions of names. All names. Forget these names. Any name, as I told you earlier, is a name of Brahman, name of Ishvara. Even names which some of these North Indian, Pinky, Chinky and all that, all names are all relating to Brahman. I'm saying it in India. I've seen such names. Pinky, Chinky and all that. So many names are there. Okay. Anyhow. So, if there anything has got any glory, that glory belongs to Brahman only. It is his glory only. And that is how we take the name of Bhagavan. So, Vishwa being the name of that Brahman, appropriate name. Because everything as a Karanam is pervading everything. So, we can see Brahman in everything. So, when we say Vishwa, the universe, is Brahman, appropriate name for Brahman, Vishwa. And of course, Adi Shankara says that is why whenever we say any glory, whenever we want to praise Bhagavan, we can praise him through any names. He says Virinchadi, it means Virinchi means Brahmaji. So Brahmaji's name, any name, Vishnu's name, Shiva's name, any name, we can actually praise Brahman, we can sing the glories of Brahman. And the 10th chapter, I think 10th, Bhagavad Gita also, Vibhuti Yoga chapter, talks about all the glories of that Brahman, all the glories of Ishvara. So this is the first one, Karanatvena Brahma iti uchyate, Vishwa. Second aspect he touches upon, Adi Shankara, is Yadva Parasmat Purushat idam Vishwam Paramartataha na bhinnam. And he just expands that. He says that this world is not separate from, has no reality apart from Brahman, which I have explained to you now. What is the reality of this world? And because of that also, Brahman is referred to as Vishwa. Right? And he quotes, Adi Shankara quotes two mantras from Mundakopanishad. Brahmaiva idam Vishwam idam varishtam. Sorry, Brahmaiva idam Vishwam idam varishtam. Something wrong is that. Brahmaiva idam Vishwam idam varishtam. I think I have written it wrong, but I don't not able to recall the correct one. Then Purusha eva idam Vishwam. These two mantras are there in Mundakopanishad, on the basis of which Adi Shankara says that from that also we know that Brahman is called Vishwam. That is another reason he gives. So everything that exists here is all Brahman. Nothing is there with other than Brahman. That is how we have to see this whole world. There is only Brahman. Then he gives another dimension. Sakalam Jagat Karya Bhutam Esha Vishati iti Vishwam. Vishati iti Vishwam means, Vishati means entered. So again, this is another very poetic way of describing about this entire world. The Upanishads say, Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Having created this world, that Brahman entered this world. And this word, this Entered word is a very, very controversial word. And it is discussed very detailed manner in Brahma Sutra. Even Adi Shankara discusses this in Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashyam in a very detailed manner. What does this Pravishat means? It means what? We are talking about two stages. Tat Srishtva, having created this world, Tadenu Tadeva Anupravishat, Brahman entered. Means what? When it was created, there was no Brahman. Then afterwards, Brahman entered this world. This is what the plain reading of this mantra gives. So just now we say Brahman is all pervasive, available everywhere. How can he enter any place? For us to enter any place, we should not be there. Then only we can enter, isn't it? If I am in this room, how I can enter this room? I can enter this room only when I am not there. Similarly, when the Brahman, we say Brahman is Karanam, Jagat Karanam, he created this world and then he entered. Means before entry, when he created, what was the condition? There was no world at all. What? So this is a very controversial, topic in Vedanta. But having said that, we'll not go into that. The point here being made here is that when it says entered, it is not a sequential process. It is a simultaneous process. Because as even the world was created, Brahman entered this world. Means Brahman blessed this world. Brahman pervaded this entire world. It's exactly simultaneous. There was not even a moment of difference in that. It cannot be. Because if Brahman is not there when the world is created, the easiness of the world will not be there. We cannot say ease, world is. The Sat will not be there. If Sat is not there, it is non-existent earlier. So all these, that's why Adi Shankara goes into all these aspects, argues this threadbare and say how we have to understand this particular mantra in the Upanishad. He explains it very, very nicely. And he says, Kincha Samhritau Vishanti Sarvani Bhutani Asmin Niti Vishwam Brahma. One more reason he gives. He says that at the end of this round of creation, when the pralayam comes, all this entire manifest world becomes unmanifest and enters that Brahman. Goes back into the unmanifest state. Brahman is still, Brahman plus Maya still exist. They can never become unmanifest. But this creation can become unmanifest and they will go back into Brahman and Maya. So from that point also, the effect getting converted into the cause. The pot getting dissolved into the clay or getting converted into the clay back to its original form. So that way also he says that Brahman can be called Vishwam because first creation Vishwam, then resolution also Vishwam. The whole world getting created, sustained and goes back into that Brahman. That way also Brahman can be called Vishwam. This is the third reason he gives. Right. Then he quotes a number of mantras and slokas from Shruti, Smriti and all that to show that the word Vishwam also means Om. Om is a very popular word. Everybody knows Om. But what is the significance of that Om? Very few people know. So Om is also Vishwa. Om is the name of the Lord, and the Lord is Vishwa. So Om is Vishwa. That's what he says. And Vishnu Sahasranamam begins with what? Om. Om Vishvam Vishnur Vashatkaraha Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Right? Starts with Om. And here, Pujya Swamiji in his commentary has dealt with this word Om in a very, very detailed, profound manner. It's a very beautiful commentary of by Pujya Swamiji. And I thought I will share that commentary with all of you, what this Om signifies. It's called Pranava Mantra, Om. It's a syllable, it's a symbol, it's a sound. So many things are there. What exactly is this Om? We need to understand. So we will see what Om is from based upon Pujya Swamiji's commentary. And this Om is an integral part of the Sahasranama. Because when we are doing the Sahasranama Archana, every name, every Nama starts with Om. Om Vishwasvai Namaha, Om Vishnave Namaha. Like that, every Nama, all 1,000 names, when we do the Archana, starts with Om only. So Om becomes an integral part of this entire Vishnu Sahasranama. And Om, to begin with, is a Mangala Suchaka. It's a anything auspicious we have to start the word Om, we say. In fact, if you sannyasis, the sannyasis who are there, even why sannyasis, even learned pandits, whenever they want to say anything, they will say mostly Om, Om. Single syllable answer to any question will be Om. If somebody asks, some assistant is asking, shall I bring ghee for homam? They will say Om. Means yes, bring it. They will not use words like yes and all that. So Om in our culture is a very, very significant sound. In fact, it is said that this is the primordial sound in the universe, which continuously goes on. Om is the sound of the universe. We can't hear it because of the problem with our hearing ability. Whereas jnanis and all that who are in the highest state of meditation, in the samadhi state, they can hear that sound Om, which is there, the sound of the universe. And in fact, even scientists and all, they have come very near to that. I mean, they also say that there is some such sound which resembles Om. Anyhow, so this Om is a Abhidhana. Abhidhana means name of Brahman. And both for the Saguna aspect and Nirguna aspects. Because with Maya, Brahman becomes Saguna Brahman. Without Maya, it becomes Nirguna Brahman. That's all. Pure consciousness, pure existence and limitlessness is Nirguna Brahman. With Maya, in the form of Vishnu, Shiva and Ganapathy, all the God, they all become Saguna Brahman. Brahman with gunas and with attributes. Okay. So both for Vastu and Parameshwara, this word Om can be used. Lord is one, we have seen, and Om is a single syllable letter, single syllable word. If there is a word which conveys a meaning, but only one syllable, it is Om. You cannot find any other single syllable word in the language which has a meaning. So this is another importance of this word Om. And this word Om is derived from a dhatu, a verb called ava. Avarakshane. Avarakshane. Rakshane means that which protects. So there is, for Sanskrit student, that's called a man pratyaya. That's how ava plus man becomes om. I'm not going into the Sanskrit aspect of it. Avati rakshati iti om. That is the derivation of the word om. Therefore, om means that which protects. As Parameshwara, as Brahman, with Maya Shakti, this Lord sustains the world. Therefore, he is the source of protection and also the source of blessing for all of us, the Lord. Saguna Brahman or Nirguna Brahman, both we can take. As Paramatma, Brahman blesses the Satta Spurti Pradhana. He is the Satta Spurti Pradhana. Satta means existence, Spurti means consciousness. He gives the existence and consciousness to this entire Vishwam. As Om. So Om can also be a meaning for Vishwam. It is the Maya, Brahman plus Maya, material cause which sustains the effect, sorry, Brahman, a material cause which sustains the effect of this entire world. The world cannot stand apart from Brahman. Like a pot cannot stand apart from clay. Or whatever material. Because olden times it was clay and pot. These days we get pot of all, aluminium pot, iron pot and all. Whatever is the cause material, it cannot stand apart from that material cause. And we don't need to destroy the pot or change the pot to know it is clay. We know that if it is a clay pot, it is made of clay only. That is our understanding, intellectual understanding. Okay. And when we reduce that clay into something else, it goes on reducing. This is how we inquire into the reality of the world. And this is exactly what science did. When the science, when they looked at the wall, initially they took the wall to be real. Then when they inquired into the reality of the wall, they said that this wall actually is not, appears to be a wall, but the reality of the wall is atoms. So atoms, they said that was the reality, but wall is an appearance of the reality. So all matter is consisting of atoms. Then when they made further inquiry that even these atoms are appearing to be matter, but actually they are not, it's molecules, which is the reality of this. Further inquiry they made, that's how we had from the, what is Newton, Newtonian physics to Einsteinian physics. And today we have got quantum physics. When the molecules were further inquired into, they found that actually molecules are also not the ultimate reality. Particles is the ultimate reality. When they inquired into the particles, did experiments and all that, ultimately particles is what? Nobody has seen the particles. This is all now become into mathematics. Physics and mathematics combined. Surmises that there are particles, and then when they did further experiments, they came, or further calculations, they came that it is not even particles the reality, waves are the reality of this whole world. In fact, all matter. So this is the scientific inquiry which has gone. Ultimately, they started with a wall which is very tangible. We can touch the wall, we can do so many things with the wall. But the reality of the wall is what today science says it is wave. In fact, they have come to one set of science called, it is not even wave, it is wavicle. We can't say whether it is wave or particle because it is changing its nature. So they call it wavicle. They don't know. They can't find out what exactly is this thing, which is the reality of this world. What we have said is it is Brahman. That is the reality of the world. Simple. Don't need to do any experiment. Experiments have been done by our rishis in their meditative state. They have found what the reality of this is. So coming back to this Om, as I said, when we inquire into the reality of everything, everything get reduced to Om. And Om is that Brahman, name of that Brahman. So what is everything? Just a name and a form. Anything that can be reduced to something else is but a word, and that is centered on our tongue. That's what Puja Swamiji says. And Upanishad says, Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam mrittikatyeva satyam. Chandogya Upanishad. With reference to the clay and pot example. Pot is what? Vacharambanam. Tongue. Vacha means the word. Starts with the word. Vikaro namadeyam. It has got a changed shape, also change. It has got a change, a shape and a name, a form and a name, a pot. What is the reality of the pot? Mrittika, the clay, eva satyam. That is the only reality of the pot. Without clay, the pot has no existence at all. That is the reality of the pot. So that into which everything can be reduced is the ultimate reality. And that alone sustains everything. That ultimate reality alone sustains everything. As Om is the name of Brahman, everything comes from Om. Is sustained by Om and goes back to Om only. Therefore, it is Om which sustains and protects everything. That is why Om, Rakshane, protector of this entire universe, you and me also. Such is the powerful, auspicious, single syllable word is Om. Mandukya Upanishad, as I told you, says, what was before, what will ever be, what is now, all these are Om. Om is talked about in our Shastras, in various Upanishads in different ways. Because such a profound, concept, Om, or word rather. That which is beyond time is Om. That which sustains time, but it is not bound by time, is consciousness. And consciousness is the meaning of Om. Brahman, same. Brahman, consciousness, Om, all are one and the same thing. In Om, there is no length of time. When we say Om, is there a length of time? It is just one single syllable. Right? What is there is only consciousness. So that consciousness which sustains time but which is free of time, that timeless, that is the implied meaning of Om. Timelessness is the implied meaning of Om. So it's almost time. I will continue with this in the next class, because this is a very profound commentary by Swamiji. Very nice fact to understand everything about Om. So we will continue. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you,
Namaste,
Mama.
Guruji.
Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaskaram and
Namaste.
thank you. Hari Om Guruji.
Dhanyavadah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Just wonderful today.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
A lot of overlap with Tattva today.
It will be all same. It will be there.
Yes.
Because their audience are not common, you know. So
Correct.
some people are common, but others are not common. They are not students of Tattva Bodha. So obviously some aspects of that, in order to explain this, yeah, Adi Shankara, Tattva Bodha is Advaita Vedanta. Adi Shankara's old Vishnu Sahasranamam is Advaita Vedanta. So obviously those things will certainly come in. For you, it will be repetition, but in Vedanta, any amount of repetition is actually good.
Good.
Right? You can
Then
go
only
on
it will stay in the mind.
Yeah, yeah,
It will stay in the mind.
yeah, exactly. So it will get absorbed more
Yes.
to hear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Hariom, thank you very much.
Guruji,
Yes.
Guruji, I have a question.
Yeah.
When pralayam comes and the manifest goes back to the unmanifest,
Yeah.
am I to understand that Brahman and Maya don't? They are existent all the time. And that is the Om, which we call Vishwa.
Yes. Exactly.
Thank
That
you.
another name is Om. That's all. So it is called as Om in the Shastra. But this Om word has got, why Om is a very significant word. And that is what Puja Swamiji explains that. Why Om is called, these three: creation, sustenance, and resolution. These three things are built into this one single syllable letter O as a sound symbol. That is what Puja Swamiji explains. So that is why I thought that I will share it with you. Otherwise, from Adi Shankara's commentary, it is very. He also talks. He says this meaning he gives for Vishwam as Om, but he doesn't go into the depths what Puja Swamiji has got in explaining it. It's really very, very nice rather to know. So whenever we say Om, when you know what it means, all those things. When we say Om, we are referring to this whole world. Vishwam is what we are referring to. So they're all very interesting aspects of our Shastras. So if you have got the inclination and the time, it's all very nice to go into it. That's it. Any more questions? Or shall we close the session?
Dhanyavadah Mahodaya. Hari Om.
Dhanyavadah. Thank you
Hari
very
Om. Thank you.
much. Thank you.